Imagine hanging more than 90 meters above the ground, held only by a rope made of natural fibers, while dozens of giant bees attack your face and hands. Below you, a steep cliff drops into an icy river. Above, a hive the size of a door, packed with honey, but not just any honey. This is rare, precious, and hallucinogenic. In Nepal, some men risk their lives every year to harvest this dangerous delicacy in a tradition that challenges the body, the mind, and the very instinct for survival. In the heart of the Himalayan mountains, far beyond the reach of most people, lies one of the most dangerous professions in the world, harvesting the honey of Apis laboriosa, the largest bee on the planet. These hives aren't found in trees or near the ground. They cling to sheer vertical cliffs, often more than 2,500 meters above sea level. To reach them, harvesters must climb using ancient techniques, relying only on handmade ladders and ropes, all while enduring hundreds of stings. But what makes this honey so special, beyond its unique flavor and rarity, it contains natural compounds from rhododendron flowers, capable of producing hallucinogenic effects. In Nepal, it's valued not only as food, but also as a traditional medicine and even an aphrodisiac. The danger is real. A fall can be fatal, and the reaction to the honey can be unpredictable. Yet, year after year, entire villages mobilize to keep this tradition alive, passing the knowledge down from generation to generation. The setting where this activity takes place is as challenging as it is breathtaking. The main honey hunters live in small villages scattered across the mountainous regions of Lamjung, Kaski, and other remote districts of Nepal. These settlements are nestled between dense forests and deep valleys, accessible only by narrow trails that wind along the slopes. The climate is harsh. In winter, temperatures plummet, making any movement even more difficult. In spring and early summer, the honey harvesting season, the rains are less frequent, but the heat and humidity boost bee activity, making the work even more dangerous. The local economy is modest, based on subsistence farming and livestock rearing. Rice, corn, potatoes, and wheat are common crops, but the harvests are not always enough to sustain families year-round. That's where the hallucinogenic honey comes in, sold at high prices on the domestic market, and especially to foreign buyers willing to pay a premium for such rarity. But courage alone is not enough to obtain it. One must know every detail of the terrain, the bee's behavior, the direction of the wind, and the escape routes in case of emergency. It's precisely this combination of skill, endurance, and tradition that keeps alive a practice almost impossible to find anywhere else in the world. The honey harvesting day begins long before sunrise. While it's still dark, the stone houses of the villages fill with the muffled sound of footsteps and murmurs. The men gather in the kitchen, where the wood fire crackles, warming the icy morning air. As water heats in for tea, they prepare a simple yet hearty meal: steamed rice, lentils, and vegetables, enough to fuel hours of extreme physical effort. By around 5 a.m., the group is ready to set out. They carry on their backs ropes made from bamboo or hemp fibers, long handmade ladders, baskets to store the honey, and long poles tipped with metal or wooden hooks for handling the hives. There's no modern equipment. Helmets, gloves, or protective clothing are rare. Many climb wearing only long-sleeved shirts and thick trousers, relying more on experience than on technology. The trek to the cliff can take hours. The trails are narrow, covered in roots and loose stones, and a single misstep could be fatal. Along the way, the group studies the sky, the wind's direction, and the movement of the clouds, signs that reveal whether the weather will be favorable. Strong winds can sway the ladders and increase the risk of falling. Sudden rain can make the ropes slippery and the job impossible. Upon reaching the site, they face the cliff, a sheer wall of rock hung with dozens of massive hives. The buzzing of the bees can be heard from meters away, and the sweet scent of honey hangs in the air. Before beginning, they perform a quick ritual. Dry leaves and branches are lit at the cliff's base to produce smoke, sometimes attached to a pole to reach the hives. The goal is not to kill the bees, but to disorient them, making them less aggressive. The first man begins the climb. He grips the rope tightly, bracing his feet against the rock, a basket tied to his body. The makeshift ladder sways dangerously with each movement creaking under the weight. Below, Another man manages the main rope, keeping it taut and preventing it from snagging on the cliff's jagged edges. When the hunter reaches the hive, he positions himself with care, using 2 hooked bamboo poles, one to pry the golden combs from the rock, the other to hold a basket against the cliff to catch the honeycombs. He removes pieces of the structure, leaving part of the nest intact so the bees can recover and produce again. Every strike must be precise. A sudden movement could loosen the rope or further agitate the swarm. Stings are inevitable. Even with smoke, the bees fiercely defend their territory. Fortunately, the hunters have learned to tolerate the pain while deftly working in midair. It's a journey as breathtaking as it is grueling, considered the most dangerous job in the world. A single misstep could mean a fall of hundreds of meters and certain death for the harvesters, who navigate the steep mountains with extreme caution. To harvest honey from a single colony, climbers can spend 2 to 3 hours, depending on the hive's size and location. The fresh honey is placed into the basket, and when it's full, the hunter signals for it to be lowered to the support team waiting at the base of the cliff. The harvest can last an entire day, or even stretch to 3 long days. When the last man climbs down or the final hive is collected, everyone is exhausted, faces swollen from stings and muscles aching. It's time to pack up and, make the trek back to the village. It's a large team effort, and they see it as a kind of social gathering. The extracted honey, especially the so-called mad honey, is thick with a deep amber color and an intense aroma that blends sweetness with a slight bitterness, a sign that it carries the natural toxins of rhododendron flowers, which the bees feed on in spring. It is prized for its medicinal properties and hallucinogenic effects. It sells for high prices in the local market and to foreign buyers. However, commercialization is not simple. Harvesting is limited to twice a year to avoid harming the bee population, and the quantity obtained does not always justify the risk. In the Himalayan region, locals call it mad honey because it contains a toxin called granotoxin, which is poisonous to humans and found in rhododendron flowers. As for the experience of eating it, 2 teaspoons is the amount recommended by the locals. Even at that dose, your body temperature and blood pressure drop. You may feel chills, nausea, excessive weakness, and, of course, hallucinations. In larger quantities, it can cause temporary paralysis, dehydration, and without proper care can be fatal. According to one villager, if you consume a larger amount of the hallucinogenic honey, first, your body will feel the urge to vomit or defecate. Then your vision alternates between light and darkness. You cannot move, but you remain completely lucid. This sensation can last for a day, accompanied by the sound of a distant, pulsing beehive. A journalist reported that he ate 2 teaspoons and, after about 15 minutes, began to feel something similar to a marijuana high. He said, "I felt as if my body was cooling down, starting from the back of my head and moving through my torso. A deep, icy feeling in my stomach that lasted several hours." Nepalese locals use small doses of the honey as an antiseptic, a remedy for coughs, or to relieve pain. Skin wounds can be completely healed with the honey, as it not only helps prevent infections, but also speeds up the healing process. The profession of honey hunting on Nepal's cliffs is not just a job, it's a cultural heritage. In many villages, only the most experienced men are allowed to climb up to the hives, but the entire process is a community activity. Younger men help prepare the ropes, carry the ladders, and light the fires for smoke. Women and children wait at the base or in the houses, ready to receive the honey and begin the filtering process. Knowledge is passed down orally, and sort of from father to son, through hands-on demonstrations that can take years before an apprentice is considered ready to climb on his own. There are no manuals or courses. Each technique is shaped by experience and by the specific conditions of each cliff. One of the most remarkable aspects is the crafting of the ropes and ladders. The ropes are made from hand-braided bamboo fibers, strong enough to support hundreds of kilos. The ladders, which can exceed 50 meters in length, are bound with complex knots designed to withstand not only weight, but also the constant strain during ascent and descent. But the challenges go far beyond climbing. The mountain weather is unpredictable. A clear sky in the morning can turn into a storm within hours. The stings of the Apis laboriosa are more painful than those of common bee species and can be fatal for allergic individuals. On top of that, there's no quick access to hospitals or clinics. In the event of a serious accident, help can take hours or even days to arrive. Even so, the tradition endures, not only for its economic value, but for the cultural meaning it carries. For many, harvesting honey from the cliffs is an act of courage, of respect for nature, and of connection to the ancestors who practiced the same craft long before them. In the mountain villages of Nepal, honey harvesting is not just an economic or subsistence activity. It is a deeply rooted cultural event. In some regions, each harvest season is marked by rituals that take place before the climb. Villagers gather the night before, light bonfires, and offer prayers, asking for protection from the gods and the mountain spirits. It is said that those who die during the harvest did not pray enough. The elders tell ancient stories, passing down legends that blend fact and myth about how honey was first discovered, about hunters who braved even higher cliffs, or about swarms that were even more aggressive. These narratives are not only meant to entertain, they serve as coded lessons, teaching safety, respect for nature, and the limits of human endurance. The extracted honey holds a special place in village festivities. Part of it is reserved for religious ceremonies, where it is offered as a sacred gift in local temples. Another portion is used in traditional dishes, or mixed with medicinal herbs for home remedies. The unique properties of mad honey are also recognized in traditional medicine, where small doses are believed to improve circulation and increase physical stamina. During these periods, village life changes pace, local trade picks up, curious visitors appear, and for many young people it is a chance to witness up close the courage of the men who challenged the cliff. Some families even see the occasion as an opportunity to strengthen community bonds. Everyone contributes in some way, whether by cooking for the harvesters or transporting the honey back to the village. Even with modernization slowly reaching the mountains, honey harvesting retains its symbolic value. It's not just about the food, but about keeping alive a practice that carries identity, history, and a profound sense of belonging to a place unlike any other in the world. Will this tradition withstand the test of time? In recent years, the lives of Nepal's cliff honey hunters have been undergoing a quiet yet profound transformation. The arrival of roads, the migration of young people to the cities, and the growth of tourism have drastically reduced the number of men willing to face vertical rock walls in search of wild honey. It is a risky craft, requiring courage, skill, and knowledge passed down from generation to generation. Yet today, many prefer safer, more stable jobs, leaving behind the age-old art of harvesting honey from the giant Apis laboriosa bees. Beyond the lack of successors, the bees themselves are under threat. Changes in climate and native vegetation have reduced foraging areas, cutting the availability of flowers and consequently honey production. This decline not only affects the hunter's income, but also weakens the incentive to preserve the tradition. Tourism, which could be an ally, brings both benefits and risks. Some visitors pay to watch the harvest, injecting money into the villages. However, to meet demand, certain hunters perform out-of-season demonstrations or over-harvest, compromising the survival of the swarms. It's a fragile balance where any excess could cost centuries of accumulated knowledge. The situation is further complicated by changes in government policy. In the past, the cliffs belonged to local communities who practiced environmentally sustainable harvesting. Today, some of these lands are being granted to contractors with exclusive exploitation rights. Driven by quick profit, they ignore proper harvest seasons and strip as much as possible, accelerating the decline of bee populations and threatening the future of the region's famous hallucinogenic honey. For many elders, it is painful to witness the weakening of a practice that has shaped the village's identity. Without new hunters to take up the mantle, and with increasing external pressures, the future of this tradition hangs by a thread. If nothing changes, the sound of rope ladders swaying in the wind on Nepal's cliffs may fall silent, taking with it a unique cultural and ecological heritage found nowhere else in the world. It's a hard life, but one rich with meaning. If you were also impressed by the courage and skill of these harvesters, leave your comment. And about the hallucinogenic honey, would you dare to try it? And of course, subscribe to the channel to discover other extreme lives and traditions that still survive around the world. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories, because there are still so many amazing places and people for us to discover together.